Hey, it's Sasha Avdikov. Thanks for joining me on TRADERSFLY TV. And in this week's episode, I'd like to cover the concept of groupthink and how it applies to your stock market trading decisions and your stock market trading. So I think it's fascinating to study the concept of psychology and how it really relates to our behavior in the markets. I think it's one of the things that many people and many traders lack. And if you focus a lot on learning more about psychology, learning about your behavior, learning about how you make trading decisions, then I think it'll really help you out quite a bit in your own trading and your own success in trading. You'll be able to spot things about yourself and look at things in a different way than you have in the past. So in this episode, I'd like to share with you an experiment that I read about that really had to do with groupthink. And groupthink is really how you act and behave within a group. And I think in the stock market, a lot of people are getting knowledge and information from all sorts of different sources. So it is, in a way, the group thinking behavior that we get influenced by. So it's important to understand how we behave in groups. So this experiment that I read about is the scientists focused on this one specific person or individual. And what they really did was they took this one individual and they put him in a room full of, let's say, 20 people. Now, all these 20 people were actually part of, working for the scientists. They were part of helping out for the experiment. And this one person was really the one person that they studied. So what they did was they took this person, they put him in a room full of 20 people, and then the scientists showed a diagram for everybody, asking them which is the longest line. So they had 3 lines, 3 pieces of paper and 3 lines, and you can clearly tell which line was the longest. So they would have maybe line A was maybe the shortest line, line B was almost the same length, and line C was quite a bit longer. And you can really tell it wasn't difficult to spot, so it wasn't a difficult question. So what they did then was go ahead and ask around the room which line was the longest. Now we know that line C, or line number 3, was the longest. But what everybody started to say, all the 20 other people would start to say, hey, line A, or the first line, is the longest. Next guy would say line A, of course line A. The third guy also line A. So as we continued around the room, most everybody starts saying line A, and this other person that's being experimented on is wondering and scratching their head. I mean, I can see line C, or the third line, is actually longer, but maybe I'm wrong. They start doubting themselves. They start thinking that I think line A is probably longer. I mean, everybody's saying this, and eventually people or the person that was being experimented on starts to believe that line A is actually the longer line, when in fact it's the third line, and it was clearly their own decision that was correct. But what happens in these groupthink situations is that we don't know what's really right or wrong as we start getting more influence from other outside sources, because their opinion could be shifted or swayed. And I think the same thing happens in the stock market. You'll start hearing people saying certain things, that this stock is great, or that stock is great, and this stock is going up. So all these things start to accumulate in your mind, and you have to process all these decisions internally to where you don't really make your own decisions. You're not really doing or thinking on your own anymore. You start getting influenced from all these other sources. So in fact, you kind of become this person that's being experimented on, and your opinion and actually your belief starts shifting to these other opinions and beliefs. So, this is what happens when it comes to groupthink, and especially as people get put into these crowds, they start shifting their opinion, and they don't want to raise their hand and being the only outcast, because as human beings, we like being part of that socialness and being part of a group. And as we start going against the group, we might get a sense of rejection. So we actually start believing what the rest of the group says. Now, what's important to understand is that, of course, this group in this case was wrong because they were experimenting on this one person. But you have to remember that in the stock market, the same thing happens. You start getting all these influences from all these outside sources, and you really don't know which one is right or which one is wrong. So when you start doing your own homework and you block out that noise, you block out all these external influences, you'll be much better in your trading decisions. So that's one major tip that I wanted to leave with you in this week's episode. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see the stocks that I'm watching in the current market conditions, go ahead and sign up to my rapid recaps by clicking this link right here and entering your name and email address when you get to that website. And if you want to condense your trading education, if you want to speed it up and just watch a lot less videos and just get everything in one spot, then go ahead and take a look at some of my courses at TRADERSFLY.com. Thanks for joining me and sticking with me, and remember to do what you love, contribute to others, and most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you next time.